Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, hey, welcome to Gunners.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
welcome back to God, Family, and Guns.
Yeah.
I appreciate being your guest. So thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much for taking the time out of your schedule. I know it is busy and hectic, but thank you so much for swinging by, making the time to stop and chit chat. I appreciate it. I know your viewers appreciate it. I hear it all the time. So.
Well, and you're our favorite guest because everybody's like, I have other guests and nobody's like, where's that guest at? But everybody's always like, where's Maggie? Where's Maggie? But it has, when was the last time I was here? About 3 weeks ago?
It's been a minute or two. Yeah.
A lot happens in 3 weeks.
So a lot has happened. I get people coming in going, how's Mark?
Oh.
He's been in the hospital. Is he okay? We heard he's mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
What the hell?
Here
guys?
I am.
No, we're okay. Everything is gonna be fine, maybe.
Yeah, gosh, it's been a crazy ride. So I don't even know where to begin with this whole thing. I guess it was about a year ago. I went and had a heart scan, and there was something like, I guess when you get a heart scan, there's like a number range, you know, like if you're below 20, you're good. If you're above 100, you're maybe going to die kind of thing. And then that 20 to 100, I don't remember whether it could be 0 to 1,000, I don't know, but it was like that 20 to 100 was kind of, you're pushing it, you know. And so I had one about 10 years ago, and I was in the lower side of you're pushing it, like, you know. And then 10 years later, last year, I got a scan, and I was like way above. So just in like 10 years. And but then my cardiologist sent me in. Well, my doctor recommended me to a cardiologist, and then he sent me in to get like more of a, like they put a dye in me and looked at, like I think they did like a stress test, and then they looked at it, is how it played out. And then I moved on with life, honestly. And Laurel and I went on vacation, and we like had this great year.
So you were busy living.
I was busy living, and
okay.
Anyhow, it was around January of this year that Laurel finally looked up my results of the test a year ago, and it said that I was having some major issues. That there was one blockage that looked like it might have been 100% blocked. And then there was an 80% blockage and a 50% blockage.
Holy crumbs.
And so I've been living this way for a year, you know, and I think the problem is, and here's where the problem fell, is they put everything out on, they have like a portal, you know.
Yes.
I don't read that stuff.
I don't log into that portal either.
Well, if nobody calls me, I assume everything's great.
Yep.
You know, I mean, because that's all my whole life. You know, I did a test. Nobody called. It must have turned out fine. And when something's wrong, they call you.
Yeah.
But they did not. And anyhow, so in the interim, what I also discovered is my family doctor actually quit. So he's not there. And that kind of, I was like, well, that's why nobody called me.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been back to see him. So I went back into the cardiologist right away. And he right away was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. Like, we're so sorry that nobody reached out to you. And, but then he recommended that I go get some stents put in.
Yep.
Okay, so I did that, and they were going into my wrist, and that whole thing freaked me out.
Yeah.
Just being honest. And anyhow, so I went in to do that, and all I remember is they said, because I guess the drug they give you, you're awake, but you have amnesia.
Yep.
But all I know is like they said, here comes the good drugs, and that's the last thing I remember. And then the doctor is just talking to me. You know, that like it was as if I was asleep. So he just says they did nothing. Like he guess I got in, it was way worse than I thought. We didn't do anything. You're a candidate for open heart surgery. And I like it. I'm like that's what I woke up to, essentially. And they did tell me beforehand, if you're freaking out or stressed out, you'll remember that stuff. And I think that's why that was the moment I remember.
Oh yeah.
Like that was my first memory. Now, once we got back in the room, and I was to my senses, and I was with my wife, or back into the room where my wife was, Laurel, they said, he came in, and he ultimately said he decided not to go in because or do anything. He did go in through my wrist, but he decided not to do anything because he wanted me to at least know my options. That they could go in and do some stents, but then I'm probably going to need open heart surgery, and shortly after that, and so you're kind of doing both. And my wife brought up something. She said, well, let's say you put in the stents and then he doesn't need open heart surgery for 10, 20 years. Like, imagine what technology will be like in 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
So he referred me to an open heart surgeon. I went and met with her 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. And the night before I met with her, I was gardening. Yeah. And I had this pot that was super heavy and it had a dead bush in it. So it was just like this dead stick sticking out of it. And I was setting it down, and it slipped out of my hands, and it hit the ground and like whipped me in the eyeball. I know. So all of a sudden, I actually had a tore cornea when I was a kid. My brother threw a jelly bean in my eye, and it tore my cornea. And then I had to cover both my eyes. I was in the hospital, and they had to cover both my. That was a kid. They had to cover both my eyes for like 7 days, because if you moved one, you damaged the other, so you had to cover both.
Yeah.
Anyhow. So it was like I was looking through a Coke bottle with cotton in it. Like I couldn't make out your face. Yeah. I was just looking through the one eye. And then it hurt. Like it started to ache every time I moved it. So I ended up with a patch over my eye. So I'm going in the next day to the cardiologist, and I was so mad because I wanted her to focus on me. I wanted to focus on her. And I'm going in with like sunglasses on, my eyes watering, which is causing my nose to run. And I'm super light sensitive, so I'm like, holding I'm talking to her like this. I mean, it was all so terrible. And she immediately goes into, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take, she named it, but I know what it is. It's a surgical jigsaw, and they're going to jigsaw my entire sternum from there to there. And then they're going to put this clamp in and twist it and open up my rib cage, and then they're going to take a vein from my arm, and they're going to put it here, and they're going to take a vein from my leg and put it there. And then I'm probably going to go into AFib, but don't worry, that's normal. We're prepared for that.
We'll electrocute you back to the right rhythm.
Yeah, don't worry, it's going to be great. Your chest's going to be open, and we're going to be shocking you. And you're probably going to get a fungus, and you're probably going to get an infection. So you're going to be on like all these meds for this, for like forever. And there was other stuff too. You might have a stroke.
Yes, and if this all totally goes wrong, we still have the option of a pacemaker for you.
That's right.
So,
it was terrible. So
it's terrifying.
At the end of it, and I kind of wanted to say, I need you to just shut up. Like, you need to stop talking. Every sentence that came out of her mouth was worse than the one before, and it just seemed like it went on for hours. I'm sure it was like 5 minutes, but it just seemed like I remember thinking, I really feel like I need to tell this lady just to stop talking immediately. I just stopped talking. You're freaking me out.
Yeah.
And then she got done, and she said, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Yes." And I got super choked up. I couldn't talk.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't talk. And I just like Benjamin. So angry about it.
He's angry.
What is it about us?
It's laundry day. It's laundry day. You tell him, Benjamin.
So my wife brought up something that was interesting, that she knew of a procedure that somebody, she was on the 4th floor of the building, just 2 floors down, where he invented this procedure where he actually can clear out 100% blockage. And they call it something different. She kind of said, well, I'll call him and see if he can get you in. We could see about that.
Yeah.
So she just stepped out and called him, and they got me in the next day, which is great. But I think it just shows, because if my wife had not brought that up, I would have open heart surgery scheduled right now. And it'd probably be next week sometime.
Yeah, they would get you.
Because they still haven't done anything. I still have 100% blockage in an 80 and a 50. Like, I'm standing here right now with the lower portion of my heart only being fed blood because, God made a bypass. It's kind of weird. Isn't that weird? I am beautiful on its way. There's this other vein that formed after the block, so, but it's still pooling below my heart. I mean, it can't be good. It can't be good.
Long term, it's not sustainable.
No, definitely no.
So
I met with this guy day before yesterday. Oh, and then I left the hospital and I had to go to the eye doctor.
Yeah.
so
after terrible news from the cardiologist and the specialist.
I had to go to the eye doctor, and he did fix it ended up being my eyelid was so damaged, and it was enough to cause my eye to kind of just react, and it was just, but what he did was he put my head in this thing, and then he was taking my eyelid, and he was turning it upside down and shining a bright light. It was super light sensitive. It was super painful, but it worked. Whatever he did, it worked. And they put some drops in it, and my eye's fine. So the next day, and then I think I just went home and cried maybe.
I would too.
And prayed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he immediately brought up some things. He said, I think, he's like, obviously you're the ideal candidate for open heart surgery. Mm-hmm. Just know that. But if you get open heart surgery once and then it fails, and it does fail. Yeah. Occasionally, especially through time, they can't do open heart surgery again. So that's it. I mean, they might be able to do it on some rare occasions. They can do it again.
It doesn't seem to go as well the second time as it does the first time.
So why don't you save that in case this fails, and then let's just put in stents and get this done, and then, 10, 20 years from now, if for some reason it does fail, then you could have, and that made so much sense to me. And so right away I was like, let's just schedule this. I'm on, I think, 11 medications right now. It's really crazy. I actually have to pick up my 12th and my 13th today. And one of them's an injection. It's really kind of a really freaky time.
No joke.
Yeah. Just being honest. It's not. I'm anxious to get to the other side of it. Let's put it that way.
This is one of those really. You can't say that word on camera. Sorry. This is a really terrible, really freaking awful, but with much stronger language situation to be in.
It's bizarre.
I sincerely hope this is the only time you have to go through anything this bad.
Well, I can say that for the first time really in 15 years, all my numbers when they do my blood are all perfect all the time.
So is that the medications you're on?
Well,
or
it
is
probably,
that...
I'm sure it has a lot to do with it. But I did conclude, because once they pulled me out and told me I needed open heart surgery, I didn't really understand fully what was happening with my heart. They just kind of briefly described it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I talked to the surgeon, she drew pictures and stuff and showed me images, that I really realized what was actually happening. But in between those two doctor's appointments, I was getting just super aggressive with exercise. I was walking 20, 30,000 steps a day. I was, only eating fish, vegetable diet only kind of thing. Just really being pretty strict on that. So once I went to the surgeon, she said, no, stop walking that. You got to stop because
slow it down. Don't overtax the muscle we're trying to fix.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm just in a preparing mode where a lot of the medications I'm on are preparing me for that procedure. And I'm to walk about 7,000 steps a day. I'm out filming a new series where I'm in my kayak doing some things. So I'm out rowing and I'm doing some, so I'm out taking it easy while I'm getting some exercise and eating right and just getting on. I don't know how many blood thinners I'm on, maybe 3, maybe 7. I don't know what all these drugs do. But that's where I'm at. So and I'm waiting. May 1st is the day I go in to do that. It's probably going to be a 2-step procedure. So they're going to go into my wrist again, which is horrifying, by the way, because when they go in through your wrist, they go in through an artery in your wrist. And so when you wake up, they have a balloon on it, because if it bleeds out, you die. It just fills up your arm with blood and you have an aneurysm and die.
Yeah.
So when you go home, they're don't move your wrist or you'll die. You'll have an aneurysm and die. So It is kind of terrible having them go through your wrist, but it's way better than the alternative.
Splitting you open.
Yeah, splitting me open like a pumpkin. And I've seen them do that before. It's horrifying.
The little jigsaw.
Yeah, it is. There's like,
just cut straight through you.
Yeah, it's horrifying. And then there's your rib cages.
It's just slowly spreading it open, cracking it, putting all. I know.
Stop.
We're not gonna think about that. Not today.
So I'm going to be, when it's all over, when I get the go-ahead, I'm going to turn into a super athlete, only eat superfoods. Like, those stints are not going to fail. They're not going to fail. I might do like a triathlon or something. I don't know. But they're not going to fail.
That would be freaking awesome.
Well, like, I don't want to do, but I'm taking it to a whole new level. Because before all this happened, like I was really, like I was taking jujitsu, which was causing me like occasionally to throw up and things like, and I realized a lot of that actually had to do with my lack of oxygen I'm getting. And like, I was really like, why is this so hard all of a sudden, and.
So as soon as you're back to 100%, you try it again.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it should be much easier. It should be
much easier this time, yeah. But at least I know that my heart's okay.
Yeah.
That's most important.
Oh.
But if it's beating hard or feeling funny, I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's telling you it's still there and it's still working.
Yeah.
So
that's it. It's been really a weird time, but God has really worked through me a lot through this. There's a lot of things I've been needing to do on this channel, where I've been avoiding it a little bit because it's hard and scary. Like, because I'm going through the Book of Enoch, but like I'm doing it in a cave because this is where God said to do. It's hard going to a cave. Like, it's scary. It's dark. It's damp. Who knows who's in there, what's in there. It's a long walk to get there. It's private property, so I'm really trespassing anyway. So like, I don't like to do that. So instead, when God's like, well, I need you to go do these things or get out on a boat and film this stuff, I'm like, well, that's hard. I could just sit in my house and film something on the ATF or some nonsense like that, and that's easy. And I get more views, So it's really, he kind of showed me my laziness in all of this and kind of showed me how like your life is in my hands. Like I made the bypass. Your life is literally in the palm of my hands. And if for some reason that doesn't scare you, but just going to a stupid cave does, like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, so now I'm just like, all right, I was walking to a cave. Hey, bears, whatever. And I know that it's okay, if that makes, it's just, he kind of exposed me to my laziness. And then once he did that, I'm like, just out in the water, out in the wilderness, out in the caves, just getting out there a lot now. So that was good. He kind of showed me a lot through that, and that was a good lesson to learn,
Yeah. That's not the easiest way to learn the lesson, but human beings aren't always known for doing things the easy way.
And I wouldn't necessarily say those are daredevil type of stuff.
No,
definitely not. But they're definitely outside my comfort zone.
Yes.
My day consisted of getting up, showering, putting on a suit, going to an office or a classroom, and teaching. Like, I didn't get into kayaks. Or
no. Your days were mostly climate controlled.
Right.
So that's a pretty nice luxury to tell you.
It is good to just have that feeling like, look, you just, you could have died. Who knows how long? Because the symptoms that I've had for, some of these symptoms I've had for a long time, and I think, how long has this actually been going on? Well, especially since it's been going on long enough for a new artery to form. However long that takes, it's been going on at least that long.
That's incredible to think of.
Yeah, so
absolutely
8, 10
incredible.
Years,
Yeah. And Laurel's right. What's going to happen with our medical technology in another 10 years?
Oh,
how
much little robots go through your big toe or something.
Right? And you won't have to worry about the balloon on your wrist and bleeding out and getting an aneurysm or anything like that.
Jigsawing open your chest. It just sounds so barbaric.
Most practices are to some a little bit on the barbaric side.
Yeah.
So
that's my next step. And so in the end, it's really good. It's been a hard week, I will say that. really hard
I'm
week.
glad that you're getting through it.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that God's never going to give you more than you can handle.
This is true.
So that you have been put to this test means that you're up for the challenge. You might not be ready for it, but you are up for it and you can do this.
Yeah.
God believes in you.
I know. I know he does. And I know there's so much more for me to do. You know what I mean? Like I have purpose. Like, you know, in my head, I'm like, there's so much more for me to do.
Yeah.
For him, for my family, for me. Like there's purpose. Like I'm like, this isn't my time. There's too much still to be done. So.
Enjoy the days that you have to
Absolutely.
get it done. And this is a nice reminder that not a single one of us is guaranteed tomorrow at all.
Oh,
we have not been promised tomorrow. So be good to yourself today and make today matter and make it count.
Yeah. Well, in the night after I talked to the surgeon, you know, that was a rough day because of my eye, the surgeon. It was just, that was a rough day. But that night, I even told Laurel that. I was like, it's kind of the first time in a long, like I've only felt this feeling once where I thought to myself, I sure hope I don't die in the middle of the night. You know, because I remember a long time, like back, you remember the swine flu? I think it was either the bird flu or the swine flu. It was one of those two, but I got it. And I remember I was at home by myself and I could barely breathe. It almost felt like somebody had a pillow over my face. And I remember thinking, I hope I live through the night. And I haven't thought that thought since then, you know. And
that's been decades.
That was decades ago. It was probably 2003 or something like that.
Early 2000s.
Something like that.
That sounds about right.
So, it's a terrible feeling to lay your head at night going, I hope I live.
I'm glad you don't. I'm sincerely happy that hasn't been a persistent thought.
No. And the next day was such good news to hear that guy kind of be like, well, of course you don't do heart surgery, open heart surgery. It's like, of course, I agree. And he kept saying, well, let me finish. I'm like, no, you had me at no heart surgery, no open heart surgery. Like, whatever you're about to say, let's just book that, you know.
That sounds awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that actually puts my mind to rest. I'm sure that puts many other people's to rest. And I hope that you yourself seem to be at peace with everything that's happening.
I really am. I'm anxious to get it done. It's frustrating because insurance, like, I really should have done it. Like, I should have gone in yesterday and done this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be waiting till May 1st.
No.
But they have to wait 2 weeks for insurance approval or 14 business days. Like not even 14 actual days. Like, I don't know where they came up with the number 14, but actual 14 business days. They got to wait to get it approved, so that added up to May 1st. So
make sure all the paperwork's in order. The T's are crossed, the I's are dotted.
That's nonsense.
Well,
you know, this man has 100% blocked artery and 80% of 50%. Let's take 14 days and you know, what is that, 3 weekends, and see if maybe we should actually let him do this hard procedure.
They don't go by like when you were initially diagnosed and got the results, right? Because like if this is the case, they're going to be like, well, shoot, he waited over a year before he decided to have this done. So 14 more business days, no big deal. Yeah, no, I'm glad it's getting done, and I'm glad it's getting done without the split you open heart surgery part.
Yeah, me too.
So
the one good thing is, like, my mom called me and my siblings called me and they're like, we need you to blah. And I literally told them all, I was like, here's the thing, I need to focus on me. And if you're calling because you need something, you're calling the wrong number right now. Like, so, you know, and if you call and you need something, probably gonna hang up on you, and then I'm not gonna answer the phone for a while. So, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
You want to call and say hi? You want to, you know, this and that.
Chat. Ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm
ask
all
me
in.
how
But
the
if you need
procedures have
something, you're calling the wrong number.
Yeah.
You're calling the wrong number. The other really beautiful thing that has come of this, and it's not because I was fearing death. Because at no point I feared death. I feared the procedure, but I did not fear death. You know, I knew I'd get to the other side. I'm confident I'll get to the other side of whatever happens. I just wasn't a fan of what they proposed was going to happen. But through it, like I've really purposely tried to spend time with the people I love, you know, and I love that. Even the people I like I've called friends I haven't talked to in a while. You know, there's been days where I'll go have breakfast with my daughter and then lunch with my son and then to a Royals game with my daughter and her husband and my granddaughter, you know, all in one day. And then everybody comes over for dinner, and I'm like, it's really been, because, you know, all the kids are moved out for the most part, except for one still, but everybody's back. Like, it's almost like we're a family again, because I think even they desire the time as well.
Oh, yeah.
After kind of seeing this happen, so.
Yeah.
It's been really wonderful. You know, it's been kind of like.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful, wonderful side effect.
Absolutely.
If they all could be that good.
Well, by the way, thanks for asking.
Hey.
You know, I know it's funny because I'll like make videos and people are like, "Did you just get a heart procedure?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. And look,
and we're going to get another one, but here we are. We got to do videos still.
In the meantime, we're back in Gunners doing videos.
That's right.
So
thanks for asking, because I know a lot of people have wondered, and I know, because it was funny, I came in looking for you. You weren't here. Brian was here. And, I was trading a gun, too. And I was telling him, you know, I got to go get a heart procedure tomorrow. This is way back when that first happened. And he said, that was kind of, that I just left it at that.
Just a quick little blurb.
So I apologize for that.
Yeah.
That's like, what?
Oh, I come in here and they're like, so what's with Mark's heart procedure? And I'm like, news to me.
Sorry
Great.
about that. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll probably give him more detail.
We're going to find out at some point eventually, but here we have the news from the man himself. Yes.
So thanks for asking, and thanks for caring, all you people. I actually, there was one day, I think it was after the surgery, I was real mad. I was out in the woods walking, and I was filming a video just kind of going off about how I felt about all this. And I realized that's a little too much sharing. I bet, you know what I mean? It was almost like you're writing it, like some people write in a journal. I don't, but you know, it's just like I just started like just letting it out, and it was like a 35-minute video just going off about my heart kind of thing.
A little bit of a rant.
A little bit of a rant.
It's okay, you're allowed.
So it is good to share, because a lot of people have wondered. People are always like, "What happened? What happened? What happened?" Yeah. That's it.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Yeah. But thanks for asking. That means
You're
a lot.
welcome. Yeah. You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So I guess let's wrap this portion up and let's get on to some cool stuff too.
Absolutely.
So not that you're
awesome. It is not cool. It is not cool.
But to be okay, first of all, it's awesome that Laurel could just walk out and make a phone call and yes. Hello,
no, it was the surgeon that did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the surgeon did that. She stepped out and made the phone call. Yeah. It was just Laurel who knew of the procedure. Yeah, she just knew of it. And
that's so cool, though. But
I mean, cool. Yeah, that they got me in. And it, you know, I just want to say that the cardiologists, they're so awesome. So good. It's been a roller coaster ride, and some of it I've kind of been like, I wish that one happened or that one happened. But I know I'm in, like, when it comes to laying hands on me, I know I'm in the best hands, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Might not like some of their bedside manners or how they handled this or that, but in the end, they're just phenomenal, and I appreciate the way they're kind of like, because they're essentially at this point I've got 4 cardiologists, then 3 of them are surgeons, so. Should go okay.
Yeah. It sounds like you're pretty well covered.
Pretty well covered.
So we're gonna keep all the good things only.
Yeah.
Time for viewer mail.
Viewer mail.
Viewer mail. Thank you for the delivery.
Yeah. Look at the
I'll let
Amazon
you open
smile.
this one.
Oh, now who's this from?
I don't think it has a return
It actually doesn't have a return address.
It's to Mark and Maggie of God Family Guns, sent to Gunners Firearms.
I feel like I always get open.
I love watching other people open presents.
We both got one. Same book.
The Pauline Paradox.
Why did Paul teach about the law of God? That's actually an interesting one. Because I think a lot of people don't, like, they're like, oh, Jesus said you don't got to obey the law of God. It's like, what?
From 911 Ministries of Tampa, Florida.
That's fun. I wonder who sent this. There's no note in it.
I know. Maybe there's some.
If you sent this, put in the comments below.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we
fun.
love presents,
We do
so
love presents.
heck yeah.
That's interesting. Oh, I wish somebody would have said who. But thank you, random person, for thinking about us.
Thank you, Secret Santa in the
Secret
middle
Santa.
of spring.
Secret.
This is my day.
Spring Santa.
This is my life every day. Is at the gun store. It's always Christmas because there's always packages delivered, and you never know who they're for or what they are until you open them and find the little slip of paper in there that's like, oh, here's the FFL it came from. Here's all the information of who it goes to, and woohoo! Oh, it's awesome. I know.
Well, what have you been up to?
Daydreaming.
What are you daydreaming about?
Well, I'm daydreaming about the day that my motorcycle is back up and running again. So I only have one motorcycle, and because I can only ride one at a time, and no one else in the family rides. So I did borrow my dad's motorcycle for a little while last year, but he's riding again. All of his health procedures have been taken care of. He had some surgery done, and so
is he okay?
Yeah, he's. But there are times it's really scary to see your dad not doing well, and it's scary to see that the people that have raised you, the people you love, just kind of down for the count. Even if it's just hey, mom's sick with a cold this week or something,
Sure.
But to be recovering from any surgery or anything, that dude, he's like, I'm telling the PT my schedule, and it's going to be done on my timeline, not theirs, and they're giving me this long, and I'm going to kick butt, and I'm going to do it better than they say, and I'm going to do it before they say it needs to be done. So he knew he had a surgery coming up. He was hitting the gym before the surgery. And I'm like, doesn't that hurt? Yeah, it hurts, but it'll hurt less if I have the muscles now and helping recover eventually going into this. If I'm stronger before it happens, I'll get through it on the other side better.
Do you mind if I ask what he had?
Hip surgery.
Hip surgery.
So so he wasn't able to get on and off the motorcycle as easy, and they told him, take it easy, you'll be back on the motorcycle next year. And he's like, I'll be back on this thing in about 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, no big deal. And they're like, yeah. I helped because I kept the motorcycle for about 4 weeks.
I was going to say, so in the interim, you
so
had to ride the motorcycle.
He couldn't get on it, and I did. I put about 1,200 miles on Dad's bike. So he's like, are you just driving to and from work, or did you drive out to California? I was like, well, if California's not off the table, I'll get some time off and take this bike for a ride. So didn't happen last year, but when I get mine back this year, I don't know where I'll go, but I know it'll be fun.
What's wrong with your motorcycle?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, where's it at then?
I sent it off to David. He's a son of one of our customers, and David is actually putting some parts that I've had in storage for a long time on my bike. And I've missed a few scheduled maintenance things for my motorcycle. I am about 20,000 miles past some scheduled maintenance on that motorcycle. So all new seals and gaskets in the engine. And while everything's apart, I've got a new wiring harness. So we're chasing away some more electrical gremlins, and new brakes, new brake lines. Steering head bearing is totally shot, so that's time to get replaced. Fork oil hasn't been replaced in a long time. new chain, bunch of other stuff that is, it's time.
Yeah.
So the only thing I don't need to spend money on so far is the tires, because I got those last year. So, and I'm sure I'll wear those out before the end of this year.
What kind of motorcycle? I know we actually did a video a while back on your motorcycle.
It's a 1978 Honda 750, the CB 750.
Yeah.
So most of the guys that are a bit on the older side remember those motorcycles. Most kids my age or younger just like, what is that? Doesn't look like anything else that's out there today, but what is it? So, yeah.
That's good that you're having a friend do it as well.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. How long, when are you getting it back?
That's a great question. And that is entirely, I am not going to rush the person who is doing the work on my motorcycle. That's kind of rude anyway. And I know there are other things in line ahead of my motorcycle, so it'll be done when it's done, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Gotcha.
So
is he local?
Yeah, ish.
Nice. Okay.
So
does he have a garage? Because I have some wiring work to do.
If it's okay, I will eventually put his name out there. But I don't want to like flood him with a bunch of people and requests that he's like
maybe not online.
Yeah,
in a video.
probably not. So
but yeah, I need some wiring done on my truck. I wrecked my truck. It was funny because my insurance before my wreck was going up and up and up and up because all my kids were wrecking their cars. It was the point where I was like, everybody just stop. Just stop. Like I'm paying right now about $8.15 a month for insurance. It's just crazy. Now I got everybody on there though.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many cars I have to stop and do the math. But I was telling him, like, my whole life, I've never been in a wreck that was my fault. I've been in all sorts of wrecks, people hitting me all the time. But I've never been in one that was my fault.
Knock on wood. All I have is glass.
Well, and then like a week later, I got in a wreck that was my fault. But I was behind on the highway behind a trailer that was an enclosed trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was slowing down, so I looked over to get over. And as soon as I looked up, he had come to a complete stop. So I swerved to get over, and it smashed my quarter panel. But Jonah, my son, who's studying auto body at college, he's like, let me fix it. So I was like, I really don't want to make a claim on my insurance. So
yeah.
Let's do this. Yeah. So he did it. He did a great job. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. I actually did a video on it, filmed the whole process because I have the AutoWorks channel, the car channel that's there. But it was fun.
That's
cool.
cool.
And it's a cooler truck. Like he put a really much better bumper on it. Like a bash bar kind of thing.
He's like, Dad, I got this. We're going to make sure this doesn't happen again.
It's like now my truck's a little bit cooler.
Heck yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job, Jonah.
Yeah, right.
Heck
right.
yeah.
I know. So it's always good when you have a person, that's like, well, I'll fix it because that's what he wants to get into. And like we ordered a K-truck. You know what a K-truck is? Ordered a K-truck from Japan.
The little itty bitty mini
it's
trucks.
It's on its way. Yeah.
For real?
For real.
Okay, so does he got big plans for that one?
Oh yeah. We're gonna lift it 2 inches. Put some meaty tires on it because those things are like. It's kind of like if you get the 4x4 version, it's like a street legal side by side, really.
Yep.
And so he's going to lift it 2 inches, put some pretty meaty tires on it, paint it, bash bar, probably like some sort of rack to throw a kayak on it or something like that. That'd be about it, that kind of thing. Take it all. But it's only got 20,000 miles on it. It's a 93.
Those things are so cool.
I know, they are cool. So that's kind of the plan, and we were thinking about taking it to SEMA maybe and just seeing if we could sell those. Because his plan for his future is to import Japanese cars, fix them up and sell them. And I'm like, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that's
the cars that they don't ever sold. They never sold here, like the Honda Actis and there's one that he wants to import called a Suzuki Cappuccino or something like that. it's a good idea. I support it. So I bought him his first K truck, and it's
cool.
on the way. Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys have the best time overhauling that, and I'm sure there will be videos of that on the channel, on the other channel coming up. So that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
Those are fun. So how have you heard of K trucks? Because most people are like, what is that?
So my husband likes to watch some YouTube channels that are like car channels, and so we've been watching some of these, and there's a couple guys that are kind of a little more local, I suppose local, but there's a Redneck Science over in Kansas, and a Pole Barn Garage, and a Vice Grip Garage, and Junkyard Digs, and all these different channels that he watches, and I think like a Sea Boys or something, and they have done stuff with these little mini trucks.
That show, Sea Boys.
The Sea Boys. They put a freaking roll bar on it, and they were doing flips on them. They were ramping up them and everything. So yeah, he's like, watch this. Look at the crazy stuff that these kids are doing these days. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So. It's nice to see that people are doing all that stuff, and it's nice to see they still have all their fingers and all their legs and arms, and so we can do wild, crazy stuff and still manage to live through it. But yeah, so I was like, those mini trucks,
kind of fun.
Really, really, really fun. I don't think they have a very quick top speed.
No, like 60 downhill kind of thing.
Yeah. And which, I mean, they're supposed to be like a little farm truck around the property, and up and down the little mountains of Japan and everything, moving stuff from one place to another. So they're tough little workhorse trucks, but not popular here. No, we bigger and better, bigger side by sides, bigger everything else, crazy suspension. And then they look at our vehicles elsewhere and are like, what the heck are those Americans doing?